friends, you are welcome back to POSTUTME, and in today's video lesson, we shall be talking about a vital topic in physics called coefficient of restitution. So without wasting much time guys, let's get started. First thing first, what is coefficient of restitution? This is simply the measure of how elastic a particular collision is. Okay? It's the measure of how elastic a particular collision is. So without wasting time, what is the formula for coefficient of restitution? Mind you, the E here is what stands for what? Coefficient of restitution. So coefficient of restitution is equals to relative velocity after collision over relative velocity before collision. Mind you, after over before, not the other way around. Okay? Now we know that. Let's note the following. That for perfectly elastic collision, the value of the coefficient of restitution is exactly 1. For perfectly inelastic collision, the value of the E is what? Exactly 0. And these are in what? Perfect situation, which is not in the real world. Is it not? Which is not, should I say, experienced in the normal everyday world we live. Okay? Now, for normal everyday collisions, let's say two balls coming against each other, a trailer and a car colliding into each other, the value of coefficient of restitution of such collision is between 0 and 1. That's what this thing stands for. Between 0 and 1. So think of a number between 0 and 1. You can also do like 0.1, you can also do like 0.2, 0.34, 0.58, provided it's between what? 0 and 1. That's for what? Normal everyday collision. But for perfect situation where it's elastic, the value is exactly 1. Perfectly inelastic is exactly what? 0. So note this. Then I added an extra point that the value of E here is what? Coefficient of restitution can never be negative. The values I was mentioning, 0.1, 0.5, 0.6, 0.67, these guys are not carrying a minus sign. So when you solve and let's say you arrive at a minus or a negative answer, it shows probability you have missed it in one way or the other. So moving on to this side of the board, I said for different collisions, these are what you should do. We have these different type of collisions. Now, when one body is coming towards the right, another body is going towards the left, what do you do to the velocities? You add up the velocities. When one body is going towards the left, another one is going towards the right, what do you do? Add up the velocity. That's what they call relative velocity. Are you going to be adding up the velocity or you're going to be subtracting the velocity? This is what all this will help us to understand. Now, when one body is going towards the right and the other one is also going towards the right, now they are going in the same direction, so you subtract. Going towards the left, going towards the left. Because they are going in the same direction, we want to subtract. But opposite direction, right, left, you should add. Left, right, you want to add because it's not the same direction. So now we have this background knowledge. We'll be taking questions under this topic called coefficient of restitution. Alright guys, here are the questions we are asked to try our hands on. So without wasting time, let's get started. Now for the first question, it reads, it said, consider the collision below. Consider the collision below. This is before the collision and this is after the collision. So this is ball A and ball B. Ball A is going towards the right, ball B is also going towards the right. Now after they collided, okay, ball A continue going towards the right and ball B continue what? Going towards the right. But if you check, their velocity are what? Changed because of the what? The collision. Why? Some energy was what? Given off. So their velocity was what? Affected. So the question now is calculate the coefficient of restitution. That is, determine how elastic this very collision is. Now using the formula, relative velocity after collision over what? Relative velocity before collision. So because after is the one at the up, let's consider this after situation first. So after collision, what happened? This one was moving towards the right and this one was also moving towards the right. So what do you observe there? They were moving in the same direction. And what do you do whenever two bodies are moving in the same direction? Do you add up their velocity or you subtract their velocity? The answer is what? Subtract their velocity. So you don't care if it's the smaller one that comes before the bigger one or the bigger one that comes before the smaller one. All you have to do is what? Ensure you minus the bigger minus the smaller. smaller, okay? That is the bigger minus the smaller. If 7 was here and 5.5 was here, I would have still said 7 minus 5.5. This is to avoid having a what? A negative answer, okay? So it's always bigger minus smaller. So here you have 7 minus 5.5 over. Now we said formula for coefficient of restitution is what? Relative velocity after collision, which we have already analyzed, over relative velocity before collision. So now we are going to be analyzing these ones. Observe something. A was moving towards the right, but B was also moving what? Towards the right. So same direction. What do you do when they have same direction? What do you do? Bigger minus the smaller. It's not, it's subtraction basically. So this should be what? 10 minus 6. 10 minus 6. How that is okay. Now what do you now have? 7 minus 5.5 is 1.5. Exactly 1.5. Over this minus this is exactly 4. So what do you now have? Coefficient of restitution is now equal to 1.5 over 4. Now if you do this with your calculator, you will have exactly 0.375. Now ask me, does coefficient of restitution go with units? The answer is what? No. So coefficient of restitution is a dimensionless quantity. So once you have the answer, you stop there. Now observe something. When we finish solving this question, was there a minus sign? That has to show that what? It is true that coefficient of restitution does not go with what? Negative answers. I hope that is clear. So let's see the second scenario being described here. Solution. Now for this one, observe something. They said, consider the collision below, before collision and after collision. Okay? Now what are we going to be doing for this one? It's the same procedure we use for the text. So we say E is equals to, which should we consider first? Is it before collision or after collision? Based on the formula, we consider after collision scenario first. Is it not? So check. This one was moving towards the left. This one was moving towards the right. Is it not? So what do you observe? Opposite direction. Because it's also opposite direction, what do? You add up their velocities. So you come here and say 3.8 added to 2.2 over, are we together? Now, observe the before situation because it's relative velocity after collision over relative velocity before collision. So this brings us to this place now. Now, for A, it's moving towards the right, while B is moving what? Towards the left. So they are going in what? Opposite direction. Now, when they are going opposite direction, what should you do? Do you add up their velocity or you subtract? The answer is what? Add up their velocity. So this is what? 5 added to what? 3. So let's move on from here. Watch out, watch out. 3.8 added to 2.2 is what? Exactly 6 over 5 added to 3 is what? 8. So E is now equals to what? 6 over 8. And that will give us exactly, if you do it with a calculator, to give you exactly 0.75. Mind you, there is no unit. Is it not? And observe again. Is it carrying a minus sign? No. That is, we were actually correct in our solving. So I hope basically you now understand how questions relating to what coefficient of restitution are being solved. So I'll be dropping one question for you guys to try your answer on. Let's have the question now. Alright guys, here is the question you are asked to try your answer on. And it reads, consider the collision below. Before collision, A was moving towards the right with 5 meters per second as its velocity, while B was also moving towards the right with a velocity of 3 meters per second. After they collided, A started moving towards the right with a velocity of 3.8 meters per second, and B continued moving the right with a velocity of what? 2.2 meters per second. So if you observe, they were moving before collision, they were moving in the same direction, and after collision, they were moving what? In the same direction. So do it to try your hand on this question and let me know what you think the value of the coefficient of restitution is in the comment section. Don't forget to share my video with your friends and families. Thanks for watching. I remain Pizademi. See you in my next video.